Okay, Chapter 7, Energy Metabolism. I've broken this chapter up into 5 different videos because there is a lot of information here. This is a picture that I pulled out off the internet that shows all of the different energy pathways in the body. We're not going to talk about all of them. The learning objectives for this chapter are you're going to be able to identify the nutrients involved in energy metabolism and the high energy compound that captures the energy released during their breakdown. Also summarize the main steps in the energy metabolism of glucose, glycerol, fatty acids, and amino acids. And explain how an excess of any of these 3 macronutrients contributes to body fat and how an inadequate intake in any of them shifts our metabolism. So first we're going to go just a brief review and go over some simple definitions and reactions. So first, metabolism. It's a number of different definitions for metabolism. It could be all of the biochemical reactions in your body, or how the body uses foods to meet its needs. It also is used when we're talking about making energy. And as you're already well aware, our body needs energy to basically do everything, from thinking to our heart beating to picking up a pencil and taking notes. And where does this all happen? So this is a picture of the cell. And inside the cell, this is the cytoplasm here. Some of these reactions take place there, specifically glycolysis takes place inside the cytoplasm. And then most of the other things, like the TCA cycle and the electron transport chain, happen in the mitochondria, which you may have heard this term before. And they're known as the powerhouses of the cells because this is pretty much where all of the energy is made and captured. So we have anabolic and catabolic reactions. So anabolism is when you're building up molecules, you're building things. So you're already aware that glucose plus glucose, when we add them together, it can make glycogen, and these reactions, the anabolic reactions, all require energy. Glycerol and fatty acids can make triglycerides, and different amino acids, when put together, the body makes proteins. The catabolic reactions are the breaking down of those things, and so when we break apart glycogen, we break it into its different parts, so all different glucoses, and energy is released. And triglycerides go into glycerol and fatty acids. It's just the same thing in reverse. And just know that energy is released when we break things down, and energy is required when we build things up. It's basically what I just said. Anabolism, it's when we're building things up. Glucose molecules join to make glycogen. And I just basically went over this on the previous slide. And catabolism, same thing. It releases the energy when we break these things down. And so what is this energy that's captured? This captured energy, you may have heard of it before, is called adenosine triphosphate. And we call it ATP. And so some of the energy, when we break apart those molecules, is captured as that ATP. And our body uses that. Every cell needs energy. Every cell that has some sort of work that they're doing. So every cell uses ATP for energy. And we store it in chemical bonds. And if you look down here, this is a molecule of adenosine triphosphate. And here's the triphosphate group. And the bonds between the phosphate groups are where that energy is stored, and when those are broken apart, energy gets released. So this is a better picture. These are the high energy bonds. And when we break down ATP, we break it down into adenosine diphosphate. So we remove one of these groups, and this energy is released for the cell to use. So when we think about how our body uses this energy, this ATP, it's almost like it's recyclable. And I think of it as like your cell phone. When you're using your cell phone, you're using that energy, and that battery in your cell phone gets worn down. And then when you plug it in, you recharge it. So here we have the ATP. We're using energy. Your cell phone is using energy all day. We're releasing that energy so that we can use the phone. And it leaves us with this weakened battery, ADP. And then we will plug it into the charger to add energy. So energy is required to build ADP back into ATP. So all energy is just recycled in our body. And all of this just doesn't happen. We're going to find out how it happens in the next video. But there are things, enzymes and coenzymes, that facilitate these processes. Enzymes remain unchanged in the process. So here is a picture of how an enzyme and a coenzyme might work together to create new molecules. And you're going to learn about how many of the B vitamins, when we get to the vitamin chapter, how many of those B vitamins are useful in these metabolic reactions.